Thank you, Lisa K. Dieter, for that theme song. It is Blues to Do TV. My name is Marlee Walker, and that's the audio from our previous TV show, which we did at 98th and Aurora. Now we're at the Seattle Drum School, live streaming every Sunday at 1 o'clock. We got free coffee and treats for our live audience, and we have a live audience today. Give us some applause. Oh, look, we got a live audience. You can watch anytime at youtube.com/C/Seattle Drum School. We are archiving the shows, but we're live streaming at 1 o'clock, so join us. Our live guest today is legendary, I know he hates that word probably, legendary bassist Bobby Vega. And yeah, we're going to get his story. And yes, I really appreciate him being here. I've been playing music with him on it probably my whole career. So yeah, a real treat to have him here. We start our show with a little blues prevention. A friend asked for my wisdom one day, and I sent her a text or two, and then I realized I had a few more, and I started sending her pages and pages. So I thought maybe I should share this on my show. I was taking a mindfulness class. I highly recommend that. And the last couple weeks I talked about relationships. The 5 A's, really good. Check those old shows out. We did 3 items from the Dalai Lama. We're going to do 3 more today. Working from the bottom up. I'm not quite sure why. It just came to me, just start at the bottom and work up. So what are those? Yeah, okay, so we did the first 3. Once a year, go someplace you've never been before. I like that one. Be gentle with the earth and share your knowledge. It's a way to achieve immortality. Oh, that's my goal. That is my goal, so I'm going to keep sharing. It's a fun list. It's basically just stuff I thought was kind of helpful. I'm going to keep that. And when you move, you keep all your really important papers in one little place. So here they are. We'll share more in future weeks here on the Blues to Do podcast. Also a part of our show is the bathroom review. Now, I'm the one popping peas. Isn't that funny? So, so yes, the flight path, a regular place that I stop in. Once in a while, I get up and sing when I have the nerve. A couple of images from their bathroom. Look, it's beautiful. It was clean. It was early in the night, I have to say. Sometimes late in the night, might look a little different, but I had to give him a review. Yeah, a great room, a real fun joint over there. And where is that? Boulevard Park, Tukwila, White Center, Brewery. I don't even know. It's sort of over there somewhere off of 509. But a wonderful Thursday night jam that they have, and they let everybody get up with one song. So a bathroom review every week comes your way right here on the Blues to Do podcast. Okay, my guest, Bobby Vega, began his professional career at the age of 15, gigging with Bo Diddley. Now, that's pretty impressive, but he really took it further than that. He achieved his wide attention at age 16 for his distinctive picked and muted bass line on Sly Stone's I Get High on You from a 1975 album, High on You. There he is. Look out. A teenager, and we have him now pushing 70, so really glad to have him here. Since he has contributed his soulful feel and incredibly dynamic playing to a long list of world-class artists. This includes Billy Preston, Booker T, a lot of blues people, Paul Butterfield, Joan Baez, I got to ask about that,
yeah,
Jerry Garcia, Bob Weir, Mickey Hart, all those guys, Santana, San Francisco's Who's Who, Tower Power, Etta James, some world music as well. Zigaboo Modaliste? I'm doing that wrong. Modaliste.
The meters.
Oh, of course. Quicksilver Messenger Service, Jefferson Starship.
Jefferson Wheelchair.
Okay. Nice, affectionate nickname.
Both of them, there's 2 ships.
And Robbie Laws, Hubert Losley, Oscar Melvin Seals, Cold Blood. One of the funniest guys you'll ever meet is what I've been told, so I'm really excited to have him here with us on the Blues to Do TV show. You're a producer, you're a not just a bass player, just like Willie Dixon. He did so many different other roles, a collaborator, a teacher. Now you're doing a lot more workshops, right?
Whenever that comes up.
Whenever that comes up?
No, whatever that comes up. Not whenever that comes up. You know, there's no job description, really, because to regular people, that's not a job.
Mm-hmm. So you just create your own. Over 5 decades of playing music, over 5,000 gigs is what I'm going to say. We don't really know. Nobody's been counting. Right. A gearhead, a gear consultant. So when people ask you about gear, you got answers.
Well, I mean, is that a question?
No.
Okay, I was just gonna, because then I would give you an answer about the consulting, because it's say that, I'm looking for this sound. Oh, okay, and then I will consult you
There
to
you
help
go.
you get to that part of the movie.
Well, and that's just part of the description I read.
Yeah, I'm
so
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Professor of the groove, a tone connoisseur, a gearhead. I know I use that term, but it's affectionate. It's very affectionate. Albums in '97, a solo album, Down the Road, with the Turtle Island Quintet. Is it?
Turtle Island String Quartet.
Yeah, string quartet. There we go.
Airto.
David Garibaldi. I mean, you had Airto.
Yeah,
I've been trying to say his name for decades.
What was it?
On the
He
radio.
goes like this. What?
Airto.
Ear, toe.
Toe. Yeah, and then his last name is
Airto. So, watch if you Google that, I'm sure that his last name will, and I won't mispronounce it then.
Well, now talk to me about that record. You were kind of stretching out. It was your solo record. You said, "Here's what I want to sound like," not backing up everybody else in the world.
No. I wanted to record a record, and I wanted it to sound not audiophile, but really as good as I could for the medium at that particular time. So at the time, Victor Wooden and Victor Bailey were going boogity boogity bang bang hoogity boogity oompa baka pika baka and all this other stuff, and I went, well, I can hoogity boogity and back too, but you know what? They're already doing that, so I ran the other way. And I thought, this isn't new age, but I was getting tired of different things where the synthesizers, and so one time I went to a gig, and down the street the Turtle Island String Quartet was playing, and I went, oh shit, that's what I want. So I got an idea to have Turtle Island String Quartet and me play, and I wanted to get Airto for percussion, and in that way, it's more of a soundtrack. So have you heard Down the Road, that record?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so that is a soundtrack of like music that's not in your face fusion kind of stuff. It's just music. So that's what I went for. Instead of competing or getting in the same pool. And that was just my own self, nobody told me. I was just following what I did so sonically. And then Mark Needham was the engineer, and he's done the band called The Killers. And we did it at Wally Hyder's studio, 15 IPS, Dolby SR, Neve Studer, and all that, and seven channels of bass recording and all that, left, right hand, the whole biscuit. So that's what that was, and that's why it's only like 29 minutes, because I figured at the time people were, they were going, well, we're selling CDs, we can't sell it for $17. I said, well, then don't sell it for $17. I said, I don't know anybody that I know of that you want to listen to an hour of music, and at that particular time in my life. And it wasn't ganking anything. It's just, that's why Apple Music made money, because you can buy a song for 99 cents and you didn't have to buy the album, because most of the albums didn't have, the whole album wasn't like, ooh, what a great album. There was like 3 songs at that particular time for me in music.
Yeah.
For Volley.
Well, and you've seen a lot of decades of music. You've been right in the thick of what's going on. And I'm curious about the collaboration. Bass players are both melodic and rhythmic instruments, and oftentimes they're like the peacemaker in the band, or they could be the troublemaker. Who knows? So what role have you played? And tell me some of those stories. Like, did anybody say, what's your thought, or was it you saying, "Oh, I got this. I'm bringing this to the sound that you want," or
no,
they asked for your input? How'd that work?
No, I mean, when I first started playing, I didn't know how to play any kind of music. In other words, styles. It was just music. So back then there was, way back then, there was studio musicians, and then there were live performance musicians, and the studio musicians didn't leave because they were making money in the studio, so they didn't want to go on the road.
Right.
So I would audition, or somebody would recommend me. I would get the gig. I didn't know how to play that kind of music. I would get the album or a tape, learn the material, go on the road, and then the gig would be over. and I would never play with them again, or sometimes another tour might possibly happen. And there was no word that I would use that music at. Well, fast forward, it's all part of my DNA now. It's part of my insides of being able to play music. So all these different gigs are inside me.
Yeah.
And now they've all meshed and made a smoothie or whatever you want to call it. But what it is it's supporting the music so somebody could tell their story, whether it's words, soloing, it's accompanying and getting under there so they can tell their story and it has movement and heart and soul and feeling, if you can.
Right, right. You've been essential in San Francisco doing that, having that role. Am I right?
I was born and raised in San Francisco.
Yeah.
So I don't, it's funny because wherever you live, you can fly out anywhere if they want. But the Bay Area is where I learned it from because at that time when I was born, there was so much music in the Bay Area, and there was different venues where you can actually see live music,
Right.
like the Fillmore, or the Carousel Ballroom, I'm sorry, the Family Dog, and then other, events of trade shows, and every different neighborhoods had different bars, and they had bands that played 4 days out of the week.
Right.
So I cut school and I go listen to bands practice.
Mm-hmm.
Right, or you go to the boys' club and people had bands, or other people's neighborhoods. So there was so much to listen to.
Right.
And, the Bay Area had KYA and KFRC, but they also had KDIA and KSOL. But then we also had FM and KSAN. And now when you got to hear the album cuts that they weren't playing on the AM radio, that was a whole new ballgame.
It was deep. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it sounded different. The FM radio has had more like, hey, what's going on?
Right. I remember that.
They would play the album cuts that were not the commercial cuts. So when you go to a concert, you go, oh, beep, that's what that is.
Right.
And some bands you'd go see and they would play the record verbatim, and another band you go play, and they were making it right in front of you. And boy, what an impact that is and what. So that's the difference of where I've learned how to play, or what comes out of me.
Sure.
Is from those experiences and being able to soak our marinade
Right.
in that soil.
Nice analogy.
Thanks.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking about how to use an analogy for your role in making music. I mean, you talk about facilitating other people, telling other people's stories so they can tell their story. You're
Well, supporting.
Yeah.
Right. It's like one person drives the car. So I go, would you like some water?
Mm-hmm.
Are you hungry?
Can I pump up the tires and make
no,
sure they're all
that's
equal?
if we stop.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm not. Hey, we're driving. Can I pump the tires up? No.
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 I see.
No, and I don't honk the horn or grab the wheel.
Right.
So music is almost kind of like that kind of too.
Yeah.
One person's driving and you're facilitating.
You're a natural collaborator. Do you get paid for that? How does that?
What do you mean?
Do people say?
What do you mean, Willis?
You contributed more. Can I write you more? Give you more money?
No, they want to give you less. Matter of fact.
Ouch.
Yeah, well, they probably it doesn't. 10 people do the same thing, get a different result, and then who's shipping and who's receiving? Is your name on the tennis ball?
Right.
Are you the tennis ball?
Right.
And do you own the company? So there's just different degrees. It's not a bad thing. It's just after a while you start to see those and feel those, and they start to have an effect on you.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just what happens. It's experience in life.
Yeah. And life's all about relationships. You've had many relationships. When you play music with someone, it deepens your relationship because you are communicating without talking.
Yeah,
there's a level
that.
of intimacy that's deeper.
And then traveling.
Right.
Okay, you get up after if you have somebody that you have a home with, you say goodbye. Now you're in a taxi cab. You have to talk to them. Now you're at an airport. You got to deal with them. The plane lands. Meet the band. You got to deal with them.
None of that is
then you
playing
got to go
music,
to the
right?
venue. No, that's what but that's part of the music
Sure
thing.
is, sure
So
is.
you're constantly gathering, and your job is only for an hour and 50 minutes if you're playing with certain bands, or one set, not 4 sets like in a club playing in locally or whatever that it is. So it changes, and it's so many different moving parts is what I'm trying to say without trying to be too like, duh.
Well, yeah, and the music business has done that. The moving parts are always moving, and it's like, how do I fit in here and still monetize, get paid?
Yeah, that's up to, I mean, it's all individual. That's
Yeah. Well, now, pardon my ignorance.
No.
Are you still on the road? Do you still
I'm on the
go
road now because I came to see you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm on the
man.
road again.
But I mean, do you go out and tour, do that anymore, or is it more stay home?
It just depends on
where the money is?
No,
No?
because when I tried to make money, I made some money, but it doesn't give you happiness. You know, do you do it? I think it's because do you want to do it? After all these different times, I think the joy of it is because you want to do it. It's better for me to play because, like if you say, go get this, do this, if I want to do it, it's so much funner than somebody telling me what to do, expectations. So if I want to go on the road, even if it's bad, it's not bad because I want to do it.
Sure.
And I'm with the people that I want to do it with.
Yeah. You
So
get to have fun.
Well, be happy. I think that's the new rich is happy.
Mm-hmm.
Without trying to say anything else or be deep or whatever. I'm not trying to speak Bobbinese or Spanglish or whatever I'm doing. But if you're happy, I think you perform better.
It's a different kind of bottom line. There's a bottom line that's financial, but there's many other bottom lines that just value whatever you value.
And just like playing, I've played out of hurt and anger, and I've played out of being happy or just like, woohoo. You know, and it's more fun to play out of happiness than it is out of resentment or anger because you have to.
Right, and then if you repeat the resentment and the anger, that just makes a loop.
Well, it adds up.
Yeah.
And then they go, what's wrong with blah blah?
Okay, let's do
all work, no play makes Jack a whack. You know, the Shining.
Right.
You know,
let's do a sponsor mention. Our sponsor is Mitch's Best Buffalo Sauce, and I got a jingle. He plays harmonica. It's pretty cool. There it is.
Mitch's Best Buffalo Sauce. Mitch's Best Buffalo Sauce. Well, the sauce boss says you've tried the rest. Well, you'll be back, cause this one's best. Mitch's Best Buffalo Sauce.
It's an earworm. Look out. It'll be stuck in my head all week. With just the right heat and just the right bite, this rich and creamy sauce made with all real butter tastes great on everything except dessert. Although some people tell me, handmade in small batches, it's made like a gourmet French sauce. Tastes great on any chicken dish, including wings. It's also great on any seafood, roasted vegetables, and many other foods. It's available locally at QFC, Metropolitan Markets, Hagen Markets, and most fine meat shops in the Puget Sound area. Order directly from Chef Mitch. There's his QR code right there. You can scan that with your phone and get some delivered. The Sauce Boss. He is at mitchfoods.com. mitchesfoods.com. And thank you, Mitch. I just booked him. He's going to come here in April, the same day as our All-Star Women Jam. So, yeah, he's going to be serving his sauce to all the women.
What a gig!
Didn't mean
You know
that.
what I mean?
I did not mean
Some
that.
guys have
That
all
innuendo
the
just
luck.
fell off the cliff.
Da, da,
Sorry.
da, da,
Sorry.
da, da.
There was a big pregnant pause right after I said that for some reason. I'm not quite sure what happened
Well,
there.
you stepped in it now.
So my other sponsor is the Seattle Drum School. They do a blues jam now. Darren has a blues jam happening on Mondays for all ages. The kids, bring them in. Let's teach them the blues. And there's an image right there. So if you want to be involved, there's the information, and we'll have that on the screen again later, I think. There's also a giving drum promotion going on through the middle of March. So if you have a drum sitting in the basement collecting dust, please bring it to the giving drum. Let somebody play with it. They go bad if you don't keep playing with them. So there I go with an innuendo again. Hold on. If you'd like to play here, you have a real bad influence on me. Okay.
If you'd like to play here, an intimate performance space right here. It used to be a funeral home, and this was the chapel. So we have a lot of fun here. We raise hell, literally. Private parties, birthdays, live concerts, new releases, baby showers, whatever you got going on. The Mojam Youth Session happens on the second Sunday of the month. I think they start at 3 now. All kinds of lessons. Tej is here. He teaches bass and ukulele and whatever they want him to teach. The kids love him. So yeah, back to our guest, BOBBY VEGA. Really nice to have you up here. I hope we get to do this again because we aren't even getting to half of what I wanted to talk about, but that's okay.
Get to it. Oh, sorry.
You're
Get it done.
You play a 61 Fender Jazz bass. It's known as the Shark bass, am I right?
Well, people call it the shark bass, and some people even call it, oh, I won't even say that. But yes, and it's because a long time ago, I used to watch Jimi Hendrix play, and he used to have a concho belt, right? So I had a concho belt, right? And I'd get, and the paint came off the back. So I said, hey, man, I went to my friend's house. I said, hey, Billy, you got anything I could put on the back of this? Because I'm sweat a lot. He said, oh, yeah. And it was a shark. So you know those things that they used to have the bears and the trout they'd put on the camper shells? It was a shark. So I got the shark, and I put that on there. And then when I was working with Etta James, we played The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and Milton Berle was there. And I saw Milton Berle, and I went, oh, shit, I got to. So I see Mr. Berle, and I said, Mr. Berle, will you sign my bass? And he goes, all right, kid, where do you want me to sign it? And I flipped it over, and he goes, I'll sign it on the fucking fish. So Milton Berle signed my bass on the Shark. Nice. And so people call it the Shark bass because it's a 61 jazz bass, which is, I guess, cool or whatever. But I've been playing one since the 71 or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's a Shark, and so people relate to it as a Shark bass.
Great story.
Quack.
Where'd you get your first bass? Did your mom gave it to you?
No.
No?
My first actual real bass, my mom bought it for me. We went to Montgomery Ward's, and it was a Norma, and it was $52.95.
Great story.
Montgomery Ward's.
Thanks, Mom.
That's right.
She believed in what you were doing.
Well, she loved me a lot, and what was really cool about those different times is you can look at catalogs and conjure stuff up, or you can go to the store and put stuff on layaway, or you can make payments. So that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those were cool days
Or
when we
fun.
could do that. Now, tell me about the Halfling bass. It's actually called a BOBBY VEGA Halfling bass. Tell me about that. I don't think we have a picture, but is that on here?
Well, that's the side of it.
Yeah.
There's an archtop builder named Tom Rebecki, and he's probably one of the top 3 archtop builders on Earth or in our universe. And I wanted an archtop, which is like a jazz box instrument. And so I commissioned him to get me a bass, and at the time it was, a lot, but it's ridiculous now. And I gave him a down payment, and I would go to his house, and I would bring him food, I would bring him recordings, and I'd bring instruments and play. And after 7 years, I got the bass. And he said, here it is. It took me a long time. So it's flat on the bass side of an acoustic, and then it's arched on the treble side, because the bass response for a flat top guitar is a better response, and then the treble notes are accented or more articulate on an arch top. So it's half and half. And so he made it for me, and I played it, and I went, oh, so he said that's your signature model, and I got embarrassed by it, but I said, you can't take it back. So that's the short version of the long story of that instrument.
So he made it for you, but
Yes.
did you tell him what you wanted? Was
No,
that your creative?
What I found out, because a lot of people, 10 people can do the same thing and get a different result. So if you go to a chef's house, a great chef, when they say, what do you want to eat? Just say, make me whatever you want. And then they'll make you something, and you will just go. So with an instrument, if you don't tell them what to make you find a great luthier, and then you take the time to know them without bothering them, they'll make a great instrument for
Right.
you.
Life's all about relationships.
For you,
Yeah.
yeah. And because each luthier has their recipe,
Sure.
and they all use different woods or this or that, because it's how they do it. So you find your favorite luthier, and then you try to stay out their way, but have a relationship, or give them music, and you'll get something that's ridiculously
make friends with them, and they'll make you love Tinder.
Our relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever that you want to call it. Yeah. And that's the one of the, it's just like I said, like food. A lot of stuff parallels, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I make food for people, and it's like, here, I love you. I made this for you.
Well, yeah.
It's not store-bought.
Well, no. Well,
yeah.
What people don't understand, if there's people yelling in the kitchen, you eat it, it does affect you.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't want to sound like I just had lunch with Santa Claus and can I give my unicorn some water? You know, but that's the whole
It's
thing.
all energy.
Well,
yeah,
yeah, so it's different things, and you just have to find your balance, what works for you.
Amen. Good vibrations here on a Sunday afternoon. Thank you very much.
The Beach Boys.
Well, now there's a few things that you've worked on. Now, I wanted to mention, I Get High on You, 1975, when you played with Sly Stone. That was a one-chord song. Am I right?
Yeah, well, so is most James Brown songs. He said it goes, take it to the bridge. Right.
And it's amazing what you can do with just one chord.
Well, some people can.
Yeah, and they do that at Mo Jams over at the Nectar every Monday. It's going to be in our calendar later. It's I scratch my head and go, how do they do this? They're only playing one chord together, but it sounds great, and they fill in, and everybody gets to solo. And
It's like church.
talk about that.
Well, it's a feeling.
Yeah.
And a lot of people explain it where it's the vamp. Well, what's the vamp? It's the part where it gets you up. It's like going to church, the working part. Ow! And everybody just starts going. Mm-hmm. And that's what, so you just stay on there and somebody starts telling what they wanted to say.
Yeah, yeah.
And then somebody gets on and goes, hey, you know, don't got bitch that do that did it that hey do it, and it keeps on going, and somebody else turns, ouch, got you know, and it changes, and when everybody had enough, it goes splat, and it's over.
I got a song in my head already. Do you always have a song in your head?
I have rhythms and pulses.
Yeah.
Because I think I've spaced my life around time where San Francisco was really cool because we had streetcars, neighborhoods, ocean, traffic. There was always something going on, and that's always a rhythm or a sound,
Right.
let alone all the other musics.
Yeah. See, I have a theory about that. Art reflects life, and when we got all these microwave sounds and beep beeps and boop boops and all that started showing up in our music, and I'm not a real fan of that. I like real vibrations, not the beep beeps and the boop boops. And it's like, can we get away from that? I think AI is going to make us want the blues even more. It's like it's going to bring back the real.
Well, then that's the other thing. The Jeopardy question is, what's real?
Okay.
Because you are real or somebody else is real. It's, you know,
Right.
what I learned
Perception.
in being in different bands is everybody's truth is their reality, or everybody's reality is their truth. It doesn't have to match up with mine.
Right, right.
So when they hear those beep beeps and they put it in their music, that's them telling you their life.
Right.
And that's all they have
Yeah, yeah.
to relate to, and that's what makes them so, all right, now it's their turn to tell their story.
Right.
But I'm not saying that I have to eat it or I have to, you know, I have
Right.
to like it.
Not right or wrong. It's just
Well,
their
no, right.
story.
So don't make me like it, but it's
Don't
cool.
make me like it.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. It's like anything else. It's like when you have a choice and you do, it's better than somebody forcing you or expecting you.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, did you ever play? I grew up played sports. There was an A team or a B team, and if you didn't make that, guess what? You better practice. But now everybody gets a trophy and a ribbon, and everybody gets to get a pizza after the thing, and nobody used to get that. If you guys won, maybe, you know, you got. I mean, they used to throw us all in the back of a truck too, and that's illegal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Part of the experience.
no,
Yeah.
well, there you go. It's just a different time.
Well, yeah, I always say music teaches you how to improvise, which
So
is
does
a
life.
life skill.
Well, and so does life.
So you got to use that skill
What life is
after
too.
you learn how to play music. It's like, okay.
No, but
this-
life
I'm
is
gonna
that way
improvise.
too, though.
Yeah, yeah. You got to learn how to improvise.
Can you survive your neighborhood?
Adapting.
Well, whatever. Can you get to home and back to school without getting beat up?
Right, right, right. Is that part of your story?
No, there's just different days. You know, it's like old folks say, some days are better than others. Some days, some people might think that that's fun. So it doesn't, that's what I mean, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter anyhow.
Well, now you have collaborated, speaking of collaborating, on movies, even a video game, as I wrote my
Yeah.
notes here. You were part of the sounds of the Hedgehog 3 Sega video game. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it was the first Sonic Hedgehog that they put music to.
Okay.
And that's all that was, because that's the other thing is that music, if you look back, starts in life, death, commercials, church, everything. So it enhances feeling, movement, spirit. Mm-hmm. And so that was like one of the first video games that had music.
Okay.
To enhance the lights and all the other stuff.
See, I don't play much video games.
I didn't either, and I still
stare.
don't. I gave it away when they gave it to me to somebody else. So it doesn't.
Well, now this is a blues show.
Yeah.
I know you're.
ahead.
How has the blues informed you, or what was the first blues you went, hey, I like this. The blues is my thing, or
I didn't.
you didn't?
No, because I went, what's the blues? I ain't that old. I ain't got the blues. I'm happy. But after I learned and I still don't, still will not say that I know how to play the blues. I know how to imitate a feeling.
It is about a feeling.
In a sound.
Mm. Tone, it's all about tone.
Well, or whatever that it does. And so when I played with Paul Butterfield or Etta James, well, Etta, to me, is that the blues? Well, some people might, but to me, she's almost like Sly Stone. She mixes everything all into one. And all of a sudden, it's just music. What color blue is it?
Right.
How blue can you whatever, so there's that. So what is that, in Paul Butterfield? And yeah, Paul, I've been blessed and lucky because I learned about Paul through the documentary that just came out 2 years ago. I didn't know who I was playing with when I got the gig with Paul.
Right.
And I didn't know that who Etta James was when I first played with Etta. I got the gig. I had a buckwheat T-shirt on. and she laughed. And she goes, I like you. Come on. And I started playing the gigs.
And you use your ears.
Well, yeah.
Biggest tool.
Well, I'm just saying it just happened. And then I got to play with those people. I didn't know that I was playing the blues. I was playing music. Mm-hmm. And now, if I go fast forward, I'm looking at documentaries, and I'm going, oh, shit, that's who I was playing with. I had no idea. Mm-hmm. I had the same experience with my friend, the drummer that played drums, Prairie Prince, on my CD. I've had so many friends go, man, yeah, you hang out with Prairie? I said, yeah, Prairie is my friend. And I was eating breakfast with him, and I went, oh, shit. And he goes, what, Bobby? I said, I'm with fucking Prairie Prince. Oh, shit. And you realize, and I didn't realize a lot of gigs because I didn't know, so I just treated people like people. And because I didn't know, I realize now that this is where it all comes from. Because I didn't know how to do these things. Am I talking too soft?
Pretty soft, but that's
all
right.
right. How about that? But anyway, so that's how that part of, and it changes throughout time, just like everything else. Or it has changed.
Yeah, I won't set off your device, but if you ask your device how many styles of blues there are, it'll say 25. It won't tell you about those 25, but I'm like...
How do it know?
There's so many flavors of blues. When I was doing a radio show and I was playing all this stuff, it fit for me. Some people would call me and say, you're not playing the strict definition of Chicago blues.
Well, send it to me, and I'll play it for you. By request, what you got?
Right.
What
It's just
you
a
want?
big word. It's just a big word.
No, right. And then does the radio station have the money to pay the royalty or whatever because you played this song?
Right.
And then all of a sudden your hands are tied because you can't, because there's a budget and there's a playlist and quack honk beep.
Oh yeah, don't talk to me about that.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not trying to, but there you have it, folks.
Ask at BMI. Ooh. So tell me the story. I got to get this story.
All right. Then.
Tower of Power. You're connected very much so. You named your son.
No. Yes.
Talk to me. After Rocco.
Yeah. Well, I've always loved the Tower of Power, but between everybody, I liked Cold Blood better, but I love the way Rocco and David Garibaldi sounded. So, henceforward, my wife at the time, Rocco's mother, we were married, and she couldn't have a baby. It took all, it was ridiculous. So anyway, stupid story short, when we found out that Rocco was going to be coming a boy, I said, can we name him Rocco? And she said, oh, Rocco, what a lovely name. And I went, shit, cool. Right, because I thought, because to me, Rocco had that, just that, hey, get me a drink, has movement, time, pace. So that's why I named, Rocco. And I guess I would have named him Jocko, but that was a sad story to me. So I went with Rocco. And I never learned the Tower of Power song until I got called to audition for them. So I knew about Rocco, and Dave Garibaldi, when I was working at a music store, used to come to my house when I was 15, 16, 17. Every once in a while would knock on my flat, and he'd come up and we'd play. Just bass and drums. I had a kick snare and a hat, and he would play. And, I played with Lee Oscar and did a record called Before the Rain, and they used a track called Feeling Happy, and Tower of Power the horns played on it. And at the end they go, man, you sure sound great. I said, well, I was imitating Rocco. And they said, no, he doesn't play like that. Well, guess what? He does, because that was my inspiration. So fast forward, we're at the trade show, and, I gave you that pic, right? So when my son was born, instead of me passing a cigar, I got pics made, and it said, it's a boy, and on the back it said Rocco Vega.
Perfect.
So I go to the trade show, and there's Rocco. And I said, hey, Rocco, man. I saw Rocco. How you doing? He goes, hey, man, good. I said, hey, Rocco, he goes, I named my son after you. He goes, yeah, Bobby, I'm really flattered, man. But if you really fucking meant it, man, you would have named him Francis. No, but it's funny because he meant it, but it was funny, and I just laughed. And so that's how this stuff, came, and I can show you pictures now. I've been blessed, lucky, and fortunate because the people I used to buy records for or listen to, I've had the fortunate blessing to be able to play with them, or to be in bass dumb, D-U-M-B or D-O-M-E, to do seminars. Like I got to do some stuff with Chuck Rainey. And Chuck Rainey plays the soundtrack of your life. Leland Sklar, Bob Babbitt. I just hung out with Jerry Germont, and I'm not name dropping. These are people that we fantasize because we've heard them. They were part of our soundtrack of my life, which wasn't I wanted to play like them. They gave myself pace, movement, time that would get me through the day. Carol Kay, and just so many, because if you leave one out, you're leaving 10 out. So that's how. So Rocco, that's how Rocco became Rocco.
Cool.
And yeah. Oh, the other thing, when they asked me, Bass Player Magazine asked me to give Rocco Prestia his Lifetime Achievement Award, I took my son Rocco out of school, and I had Rocco give Rocco Prestia his Lifetime Achievement Award for bass player.
Oh, that must have meant a lot.
No, it was cool. I thought
everybody.
It was. If nobody else didn't get it, oh well.
Inside joke or whatever for everybody.
Just, anyway, as the bay turns next.
Well,
sorry.
I got to do a calendar.
Yeah.
I know we went over, but I know that the best conversation. Yeah. Oh, his QR code's coming up, and the best conversation usually happens after we stop rolling. So we're going to keep rolling after we're done, just because you never know what pops out. It's always like what? And the QR code. You can hear his music. You can scan that and go buy his music. You can also order up a lesson.
Well, the other thing too is, if I may,
yes,
you can go to Bandcamp and you can download the stuff. The other thing is that if you want to message me, you can do it on Messenger. And if you do that, I'll try to get back to you. And that's heck, who knows? The shadow do.
Can I give him your Gmail?
I don't know. Yeah,
Not so much.
I don't know. It's already up there, but I mean, it's just probably if they just do the Messenger or the Instagram that way, because a lot of people do that.
And your latest album, What You Got?
What You Got
is something that people can buy. So
or Bandcamp to download. And
Yeah, I really appreciate the conversation. We just got started. So nice to meet you and
Thank you.
to know that I've been listening and playing your music on the radio for decades. It's just a thrill to have you here. I want to do a brief calendar, and like I said, then we're going to come back. Coming up on the show next week, Elna Jordan. Elna Jordan. She always does a great big birthday party over at the Royal Room, so we're going to catch her before that birthday party. She turned 69 this year, so a lot of story to catch up on with her. Steve Bailey is going to be here on the 31st of March. We have so many talented people in the Northwest in Seattle. He's got a new vocalist with him in the band, Dee Smith. So we're going to hear more about her and to get more Steve update. And then, like I said, Mitch is going to be here April 21st. I've got a few slots I'm still filling in. If you've got a suggestion, don't hesitate. You can get to me on Gmail as well. blues2dotv1@gmail.com, and just send me whoever you think I should have on the show as a guest. I'm going to go to Jazz Alley this week. Let's see. Curtis Salgado, Alan Hager, and Albert Cummings are going to do 2 nights down there. So I'm going to go to that show and do a bathroom review. It'll be good. I know it will. It's always been good at Jazz Alley. All right, let's get that calendar going. There's so many shows you can watch archived now at the Seattle Drum School YouTube channel, and we are broadcasting from the lab. Okay, here's my calendar. Every Sunday at the Royal Esquire Club in Columbia City, it's a real band that backs you up for a song or two, 8 p.m., and they rotate their hosts. Same at the Spar Beer Parlor, great Sunday blues there. At the Seattle Drum School here in Georgetown, as I mentioned, they have a Monday blues jam with Darren Lucas. It's for young people. They start at 7 p.m., I believe, so call and make sure they're starting. Every Monday at the Blue Moon, Andy Coe, who teaches here, is at the Blue Moon on Mondays at 9 p.m., most of the time, unless he's out touring or something. Every Monday at the Nectar Lounge, I mentioned there's a jam, Mo Jam, and they have a guest every Monday, and then they let everybody get up and play one chord together. It just amazes me. Over there in Fremont. Every Monday later, there's a jam at the Sea Monster. After that, everybody goes there. And they get pretty funky there, too. Every Tuesday at the Capitol Cider, it's John Pinetree, a great harmonica player. They do a blues showcase starting at 6:30. I might have to hit that one. The Owl and Thistle Post Alley has Eric Verlinde doing a jazz jam every Tuesday at 10 p.m. And they start at 10. Yeah, go ahead, every Tuesday. And there's a jazz jam at the Rumba Room. That one starts at 7 and ends at 10, so you could do both, actually. That's in Columbia City. Sheila Kay or Tess Thomas host that one. Every Wednesday at Arlena's in Kirkland, Lizzie Sunshine from 6 to 9 p.m. I'm going to go there this week and have a crab cake or something. Every Wednesday at Dawson's in Tacoma is a blues jam. Every Wednesday at the Golden West in Tacoma, Jerry Miller, 7 to 11 p.m. He's been on the show. What a great guest he was. I could do part 2 with him, too. Every Wednesday at Madison's in Everett, there's a blues jam. Every Wednesday at the Owl and Thistle again at Post Alley, they have Billy Joe Hewells and the Dusty 45s every Wednesday. That's a find. New calendar item. Also, we interviewed Anthony Estrada last week. He has a jam every Thursday at the Bent Vine in Belfair. It's called a Very Open Mic. I like the name of that, a Very Open Mic. 5 p.m. Start time. Every Thursday at the Flight Path, as I mentioned, a great jam there. Every Thursday at the San Bay Eagles. I was there this last week. Great music, always. And every third Saturday, Cheng's Thai in North Bend has Lonnie Williams. The Seattle Opera has X. It's about Malcolm X. It's an opera through March 9th. And there are new developments in the facts of his assassination. Ben Crump is on the case. Look out. Albert Cummings, as I said, with Curtis Salgado and Alan Hager, March 5th and 6th at Demetrios Jazz Alley. I have some tickets I'm going to give away. If you can tell me how many years Jazz Alley, now don't just shout it out, write it down. I'm going to pull from a hat at the end of the show here. How many years they've been doing their thing at Jazz Alley, then I'll give us some tickets out. There is a new release by these gentlemen, by the way, produced by Tom Hambridge, one of the best songwriters and producers in the business, and players. Albert Cummings with Curtis Salgado and Alan Hager, as I mentioned. We'll get more tickets, so the live audience, it's worth showing up. You might win some tickets. Look out. Hot Java, Cool Jazz. I don't know, the name's kind of corny, but they do a cool thing. The area's best 5 high school jazz bands are featured at the Paramount Theater. How cool of an experience is that? All right, Cool Jazz, Hot Java. We'll live with that. The Paramount Theater also has the very next night, Smokey Robinson. And all the festivals are starting to announce their lineups. I'll be getting on that. One that popped out was Parliament Funkadelic featuring George Clinton and Dumpsta Funk. Oh, might be their final tour. Remlinger Farms, June 15th. I'd get in line for that one right away. All right, future guests, there's a big list. I hope to see you next Sunday at 1 o'clock for Elna Jordan right here. I saw The Last Repair Shop, a documentary nominated for Best Short Documentary about repairing musical instruments for poor kids in L.A. who want to play music. What a cool thing. It moved me. It was a really good documentary. I recommend that. Also heard some news about Mississippi John Hurt's home. A museum in his honor was somehow burnt down because of arson. I don't understand. I just don't understand. So a little bit of news. Looking forward to seeing the academies. Hopefully Lily Gladstone will be the winner. Oh, I forgot to mention at the top of my show, didn't I? Christian, you got to remind me of this stuff. I want to thank the Duwamish tribe for taking care of the land that we broadcast from. Make sure I give that shout out every week. All right, that's enough of that. We're going to stop the tape and then start it again if you want to do part 2.
Yeah, but can I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, we'll do a little potty break and we'll come back.
Use the facilities.
Thank you very much, Bobby Vega.
Thank you so
Part 2
much.
in a second. Okay, potty break. Thank you.
So,